Welcome to Loud and Brave. I'm Charlie E. Ash, your host, and today was meant to be the what we call the soft launch for this podcast, and also my book called Becoming Loud and Brave that will be coming out the end of September, beginning of October sometime. And so we had planned for pretty much all year this year for today to be the day that we do the soft launch, and then the official launch for the podcast actually happens in January. But we were going to be doing these shorter videos and podcasts, sort of ramping up to that, just to introduce you guys to it and to help you be aware of the book that's coming out. And then something happened last week that it was just sort of this confluence of events and honestly tragic event that happened. One of the things that I talk about in the book is a time in my life. The book's called Becoming Loud and Brave, and it's stories about my involvement in the contemporary Christian music industry and in the secular, or what Christians often call the secular music industry. Don't really like that term, but the general market, the part of the industry that's not the Christian music industry. And so talks about that, talks about my growing up in the Midwest. And I'm not going to talk a whole lot about that today. We'll spend another time talking about the different parts of the book and things like that. But there's something that happened last week is it touches on something that I do talk about in the book. And there was a time in my life where I was just going through really awful things, and actually more than once, and was having suicidal ideations, and even made preparation to try to take my own life. And last week, one of my lifelong best friends took his own life, and this was a person that I spoke with about every other day. I had just spoken with him less than 24 hours before this happened, and there was no indication, that he was planning this or contemplating it or anything like that. And that's often the case with situations like this, and I know that. And so it just really sort of changed what I was going to do today, because today was supposed to be sort of all exciting and hype and all these things. And obviously, when you're going through something like this, we had his memorial service. I spoke at it. I officiated it yesterday and last night. And so that obviously changes now it goes from this hype and promotion to really, we're all grieving his family, my family, his friends, all of his colleagues. He was so loved. And so I wanted to just take this time to say to anyone out there what I would have said to him, if he would have called me that morning, instead of it turning out the way that it did, if he could have just paused and called me or reached out or texted or anything. I want to say to anyone who's thinking about this or contemplating it, what someone said to me more than once and what I would have said to him, and that is this: this world is better off with you in it. That you are worth fighting for, and you're worth saving. And even in the moments where you feel like you're alone and there's no one who cares about you, there are. And if there's no one else, then know that I am one of those people. And even if we've never talked, one of the reasons I do this, one of the reasons I wrote the book, one of the reasons why I do the podcast, one of the reasons why I put music out, is because I really want to be for others what I desperately needed someone to be for me when I was going through a lot of the stuff that I went through earlier in life. And so this format and this platform gives me the opportunity to do that. It gives us the opportunity to talk and you may be half the country away or half the world away, but if you're watching this and you take the time to message me, I will message you back. I will communicate with you. Um, and I want you to know that you're loved and you are worth fighting for, and the world won't be better off without you in it. So that is what I would have said to him. That's what was said to me over and over again when I was going through very similar situations and contemplating the very thing that he did last week. And if no one else will say that to you, then I am saying it to you now. And, suicide, I heard someone say the other day, I've heard this before, and maybe you've heard it before, but it's worth repeating, that suicide is a permanent solution to problems that are temporary. And that's not to minimize the things that we go through, because look, I have been there and it feels overwhelming and it feels like it won't ever get better and like it's not temporary, these things that we go through. But as someone who's been there and come out on the other side of it, I know that there's hope for even situations that seem the most hopeless. And I know that there is love for people, even when they feel like no one cares or like no one would be bothered if they weren't there. People would be bothered. There's people that would be devastated. And so this is my sort of introduction to talking about the book and things that are in the book, but it's also just something that I wanted to be able to say to anyone who is going through something hard and you're feeling like you can't go on. If you got no one else to reach out to, then reach out to me. Send me a message either on YouTube, or if you go to my website, charlieeash.com, there's a way that you can message me on there and I will see it. It's not someone else reading that stuff. It's me. I will see it and I will respond to you. And I will do everything I can to prove to you that you are loved and you are worth fighting for, and that this world is better off with you in it. So be loud, be brave, and know that you are loved, and don't give up. Don't give up.